Hi everyone, welcome to the Jesika Zivuku channel. My name is Anesu, I am Jesika's daughter, and I have the honor to introduce you to this phenomenal woman who just published her book, Shooting Through Concrete Walls, which is the point of discussion for today. Mom, please say hi to your viewers.
Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel.
So today we're going to have a discussion that will shed some light into my mother's life as an author and what she represents. So please, may you give us just a brief summary of your book and why you wrote it and your life story.
Shooting Through Concrete Walls is my debut publication, which was released about almost 2 months ago now.
Yay!
Officially launched on the 18th of November 2023, and it's a memoir about my life, my journey from as far back as I can remember, probably since when I was 5 to date, and it chronicles the challenges I've met along the way and the victories that I got to experience. So it's basically the ups and downs
Of your life. Okay. Wow. I read the book and I also experienced some of the experience alongside with you, and honestly you came out on top and I'm very proud of you. So I do believe that this book is going to inspire a lot of people, and some people that have already read the book have said it's already started inspiring them. I know you said one of the ladies was saying that she feels as though you went through the same things as she is going through currently, and I can appreciate that such feedback makes you feel good that you actually put down your experiences.
Yes, I've received some overwhelming reception. People have welcomed my initiative, the product of my long sleepless nights, with open arms, and I've received a lot of positive feedback, and I think it's due mostly because I tried to be as authentic as I could
Yes.
with my story, and probably that is the reason why people can relate, because most of the experience that I went through are not only unique to me.
Yes, and you also put them across in a very funny way, so it wasn't as depressing. Like you could see the other side to your what was that word, resilience. So it's a fun but very inspirational book, if I may say. So it's well balanced and loved every bit of it.
Yeah, maybe just to add on that, I think mostly because I was doing a reflection. How I started, I was like reflecting on events in my life, and I decided that I'm not gonna keep on being a victim of situations, a victim of circumstance, but I'm gonna look at the challenges as stepping stones or lessons that I can draw from. So as I reflected, I decided to take that the glass is half full approach instead of the glass
I
is...
definitely saw that coming through from your stories. You captured it very well.
Yeah, so I didn't want to look at the glass as half empty, but it's half full. So whatever it was, if it was a challenge, I look at it and I laugh at it. So I guess that's where some of the...
And that could have been fuel for you to keep pushing on, because I can imagine if you keep feeling like things are not going right for me and you stay in that state, then you can't do anything. You can't pursue more things, and till now you're still pursuing and creating new paths. Like this is one of them, So if you hadn't taken that approach, I can imagine you would have been stuck at some point in your life and wouldn't have all those, testimonies to share with everyone. So
Yeah, but I really want to give glory to God, because I've received questions where people who have read the book asked me how I got out of some of the situations that I got out of, or what gave me the drive to keep pushing in instances where ordinarily I would have given up. And it wasn't my doing, honestly. I just want to give glory to God, who just gave me the strength to keep pushing. I don't know where that strength came from, and the hope that things are going to get better. I don't take any credit for that. It's God who just gave it to me, and also just knowing that I had a daughter who I needed to provide for, to fight for, and I needed to turn the situation around for the sake of my daughter. So but it's not something that just came or that I chose or that I decided, but I think God just helped to cultivate that.
Yes, definitely. We do give glory for the book and its rollout. Everything has been going quite smoothly, and you can definitely see that there's divine intervention in everything. So I'm going to ask you quite a couple of questions from what I've read in your book, and you can just take us through your journey like that way. So let's get into it. So as you mentioned, it's been 2 months since you published the book, Shooting Through Concrete Walls. What lessons have you gained since the publication of the book?
Looking back, I'm realizing that the moment my book was ready to release to the public, the first question that came to mind was, what next? What do I do? Because I think I was focused on just finalizing the script, polishing it up, and releasing it. And I didn't really give more thought to what happens after it's out there. And then as my book was now ready for releasing to the public, I thought, what next? Then I realized I need to start a book promotion initiative. So I started researching on ways of promoting, and I realized that I needed to step out of my comfort zone. Some of the things I found myself doing in the past 2 months, I wouldn't have dreamt that I was going to be able to do those things. 3 months ago, 4 months ago, I didn't think I would be doing the things that I'm doing today.
And I'm sure you've been receiving a lot of compliments like that. You are a marketing guru from some of your high school friends. And it's amazing to witness how I've seen you because like you started your promotions in South Africa, you put your book up on Amazon, all of that. You had to do a lot of research. So it wasn't just something that happens overnight. There's a lot of work that actually goes in, and sometimes it may not appear so, but you know, you've been doing a lot of things to put your book out there. And some of the things that you do, you go to a location and you use the inspiration you can see from the locations to put it through across to your viewers and your audience, and you manage to promote your book, which is commendable. So what are your favorite, let's say, activities that you did to promote your book? Like which places, or which one was the most outstanding of your book promotions?
I can't really single out one because each one was unique in its own way. Because even to start with the official book launch itself, the way it unraveled, the way the idea was birthed, it just came out of a small discussion. I hadn't thought about it, I hadn't planned about it. It just was supposed to be a small friends gathering, lunch, but then it ended up growing and growing, and the idea grew, and then it became a big event. And then from there, a few of my friends during the book launch asked for me to sign their books. It was something that I never really envisioned to say I would sign books. But then during the book launch, I signed books for my friends who were there. And then after that, I just decided whoever was close to me or in my vicinity, let me sign for them. And the more I signed books, the more people asked for me to sign books. And then I realized,
because it does add a personal touch, right? People feel like you are really personalizing and involving them in the process. So I think that's what made people very excited. They felt part of it.
And that interaction between the writer, the author, and the readers, and just that personal touch, you know. So during the book signing, book tour, I really don't have one particular instance where I would say this was the most outstanding. Each one was a development process. Each one seemed like it was getting better than the next.
And just when you thought like, okay, I've reached the pinnacle of my marketing, is probably gonna go this route, and then just I think it was also very miraculous, and we can still give glory to God even in that, like in every process of the book rollout. You've been seeing God's intellect coming through, because
Yeah.
some things you're like, okay, I did not even think about this. How is this happening?
Exactly.
You know, and
Exactly.
you'd be so awed and surprised and celebrating and
Yeah.
thanking God every step of the way. So it was very lovely to see how God can just, you know, orchestrate things.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you just put your plans in His hands, and then He just orchestrates things, and you're just watching it unfold, and you're like, wow, this is my work that God is greatly influencing. So that's awesome.
No, I definitely saw the hand of the Lord in everything. And most of it was actually beyond my imagination.
Yeah.
I still am in awe
Yeah.
myself
Yeah.
because, like I said,
Yeah.
2 months ago, 3 months ago, I didn't think I would have gone to the places that I went to,
Yeah.
spoken to the people that I spoke to, interacted with the people that I interacted with, or received feedback from the people that gave me the feedback. So it's really been overwhelming, but also very, very, very exciting. So yeah,
Yeah.
and very humbling too. Yeah.
All right. So when I was reading your book, I noted that you attended quite a lot of primary schools. What impact did the changing of schools have on you?
Oh, yeah. Like I said earlier, the journey of writing was mostly reflections. So as I was just reflecting on my life, I then realized that during my primary school, I actually attended 4 different schools.
Nice.
Yeah.
4.
So I attended 4 different schools, and they were very different.
Yeah. You
Uh,
went from the suburban school to, you know, the school in the rural areas. I want to hear the transition and everything.
So, the first school, it was just after independence,
Yeah.
and it was a former white-dominated school. So you can imagine African black
Yeah.
coming from a normal black family where we never spoke English at home, and then suddenly you are just thrown into the deep end in a very racially charged environment, and the school does not allow you to speak your own native language except English. So you can imagine the language challenges, the language barriers,
Yeah.
and then the navigation and trying to pick up and learn so quickly. And remember, you're in grade 1.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was my introduction to education with those racially charged and environment.
Yeah.
And then moving from that school to another equally formerly white, but this one was, maybe I also adjusted a little bit, but it was mostly dominated. It was in a college environment.
Okay.
So my adjustment to that environment wasn't that difficult. It was unlike the first school that I went to. But then from that college environment, imagine coming from a school where you swim as a sport,
Oh, yeah.
you're staying in town, in the suburbs, and then suddenly I'm transferred to the rural areas. And then I have to now walk long distances to school. I have to get and attend class in a classroom.
So how many kilometers did you travel to school? Like what time would you wake up? Because I can imagine you were dropped off at school, or it was a short distance to school, and then you move to the rural areas where there's no transport at all, and all the kids have to walk long distance.
Yes.
For basic. Most of the stuff.
I'm not sure anymore because I can estimate possibly maybe 5 kilometers.
5 kilometers
Yeah,
at such a young age.
yeah. So it was difficult.
Wow.
You're coming from a town environment and then you have to walk long distances to school, you're getting into a classroom that doesn't have enough furniture.
And the syllabus, I can imagine, because it's probable that the rural areas would have the syllabus that's a bit behind, just to accommodate the slow pace, the slow learning pace. So I can imagine that could have been a shock to you as well,
Yeah.
to say, why are we still learning the things that we did last year?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there was that as well. And language, because I was coming from a place where we were speaking English mostly and very little of my own native language.
Now
I'm
it
in the-
was a vice versa.
It was the reverse. So now there's more of my native language and little of the English, and
Yeah.
so it was difficult to navigate. But I think it was fortunate that I was still young, and it's something that I'm also picking up, that as a young child you adjust. You
Yes.
adjust to situations, you quickly just adapt. So I think the benefit of youth helped. Yeah. So I adjusted. I probably was not comfortable, but I just had to roll with the punches.
Yeah. That's amazing. At such a young age, you had already learned to be adaptable.
Yes. So that movement from environments for schools, I think it kind of like shaped my ability to adjust to situations.
Yeah, and not feel the blow, because I can imagine other people, they get hit by a certain blow and they can't get up. They don't know how to navigate around it. So we see how all of these qualities that come through in your book, how they stem from a very young age and how you were already able to do so at a very young age. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Definitely.
So you were a very young mother. Please take us through that journey.
So that was a very challenging phase of my life. Very young, just a few years after high school, struggling to get into university, and then find myself pregnant, but still in the process of trying to secure a university place. And then now I'm married, I'm young, I'm a daughter-in-law, and then I then get accepted at a university. So there were just too many things that happened. There were just too many hats that I had to wear at the same time. So by the time I got accepted into university, I was a month away from giving birth, and just been recently married. So
and we understand at my age, right? Life has been very like
progressive,
and it's like a step by step.
Yeah.
You graduate from high school, or you finish high school and then you graduate from university, and then you start your career, you might move, and then you see marriage will then come, and then all of that. So I can imagine, and to be honest with you, university on its own for me was what was my main focus. I didn't have time for anything else. I don't know if I could have pulled off, even working whilst in university. I know people do that, but let's acknowledge like that university on its own is like a full-time focus. And you had to do university. You were a new mother, and some people are mothers just for a living. They're stay-at-home mothers, and they prioritize that because it's a task on its own to raise a child. And you were newly married, also taking on the role of being a wife, and introduced to a new family that you had to now extend yourself, because you can't just be introduced to a new family and you're like, I'm gonna focus on my life. You had to also be there. You had to build bridges with the family. So
to integrate with them.
Yes.
And our African families, as a makoti or a daughter-in-law, there are certain roles that you're expected to perform.
Back then you had to work very hard, I can imagine.
There's certain roles you have to perform.
Okay, so how was that? How did you manage to keep your head above the water, I should say? Because that was a lot.
That's a very interesting. Like I said, it was a very challenging part of my life because I had so many hats to wear and there are so many roles to play.
Yes.
And just to bring you on board, I want to give an example of what would happen during my time at university. The government would pay. They would pay our grants, they would pay tuition and pay accommodation and food and all that, and then they'll give you, if there's a pocket money allowance or something like that, then they'll give it to you. So my fellow classmates or college mates, once they receive the money, they would then go and lavish themselves with whatever, spoil themselves, clothes, look nice, hairstyles. And when I received my money, I would make sure that there's baby milk, infant formula, there's porridge, the helper is paid, rent is paid, because I was staying out of campus. I wasn't staying in campus because I needed to make sure, at least during that period, at least the first year of studying, when you were still a few months old, I wanted to breastfeed so that at least you are also strong and your immunity was built. So while other classmates and students my age were being students, I was playing the mother role and I think I matured.
Yeah.
I think I
You had
matured.
to mature.
I think I matured. So I just knew that I now have a responsibility and I have to take this responsibility seriously.
Your career has evolved over the years. You have done different jobs, and one of my favorite chapters is one where you detailed when you were a high school teacher. Take us through that. That story is quite interesting. So,
Without giving away too much information, for the benefit of people that still want to read the book,
yeah.
and I don't want to do a spoiler alert, but I'm just going to touch on some key things. So I found myself in a situation where I just qualified from university, finished my accounting degree, also having also acquired a teaching qualification. Now I'm teaching at a high school, but I am small in stature, mind you. Remember that time I was still quite young and I was still, quite petite. So I'm teaching this exam class, and then this guys had unfortunately been behind schedule because they didn't have, there was a period where they didn't have a teacher. So when I joined, they're in exam class, they're running out of time, they are anxious, and
I can imagine. All levels.
Yeah, so now they receive this teacher who looks petite, who looks like she's young, she's almost like her age.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they probably thought, what can we expect from her? So they were very.
What's funny is how instead of prepping as much as they could, they decided to go the opposite route, like acting out. You know how high school students can be the worst case scenario of rebellion, instead of actually trying to get as much information. I can imagine they were also affecting other students. So what were the qualities that you had to tap into in such an environment? Because high school students can get up and they can bully in a sense. What did you do? What did you have to exert from yourself to be able to go through that phase and turn the situation around to make sure that you came out the one, you stood out as the teacher and they had to respect you?
Yeah, so that's quite an interesting subject, and I think I was also fortunate that those many years ago, maybe the caliber of students, as much as they were delinquent and naughty, I'm not sure how I would have survived with today's kind of quality students, but one, I was petite, I was young looking, I looked like I had just come from university, and they were disrespecting me in class, and I realized that I wasn't going to be able to perform my duties if I don't take my power back.
Yes.
So I realized I needed to put my foot down, exert my authority, and this involved, first of all, me knowing who I am, acknowledging what I was able to do.
Yeah.
So I came from, I evaluated myself. I said, I can teach these learners.
Yeah.
I have the information, I have the knowledge.
Yeah.
I just need them to listen.
Yeah.
But listening is something that they are not ready to do. So how do I do it in a way that I take back the respect that I'm worth? So I just put my foot down, and then I
like it. You had to exert your confidence almost, because they were also like questioning your ability to be a teacher, and you had to stand on what you know. You had to know your self-value and stand on that, which is a great value to have. And I feel like it can help you not just in that situation, but in all other aspects of your life.
In every aspect of your life. I'm also still applying similar principles even in today's environment, where knowing what you're worth helps you, even if you're negotiating, even if you're speaking to people, you're able to push back when you need to push back, because you know your limits and you know what you can do and what you don't want to do.
And you'll always reward you. Like there's no case where having self-confidence has ever been to your detriment, actually. So it's a good attribute to have. So because we do not want to spoil the story, we're not going to go into the detail, but like I said, it's one of my favorite stories, so do purchase the book and read it for yourself. All right, moving on to the next. So one of the stories that you wrote about that you went through is when you got fired for requesting financial assistance for your studies, which was part of the company's policy. So basically you asked for something that you were meant to receive, and for that they fired you. Take us through that. How did it make you feel? And
it was very unfortunate, and it's something that for a moment dented my confidence. Just knowing that your contract says you're supposed to receive first thing, and following the procedures that are there to apply for whatever it is that you signed for, and for people to just decide that they don't want to give you, and don't even want to give you the reasons.
It doesn't even make sense. It's like when in life you just feel like it's such an unfortunate event that is not necessary.
Yeah.
You know, because some you can understand, but this, I'm sure when you applied, that was not even something you saw coming. You were thinking, oh, I'm going to improve myself, I'm going to get another degree, you know, I'm growing, I'm on this growth spectrum. And for you to receive such feedback must have been a very huge blow. You know, it's like betrayal, not only by the company, but the just life processes. Like, this does not make sense, you know.
Yeah. It was a huge blow. It was a huge blow.
And seeing that you were someone who stood up for yourself, you were someone who was very confident, how did you take that? How did you build yourself up? If it was like such a huge blow, did it? And then you said it tainted your confidence a bit. How did you get back from that?
Looking back, I have learned over the years, because of maybe exposure, growth, maturity. I've learned that because I tried to fight for what I thought was mine, and then there were people that thought I wasn't supposed to get whatever they had initially said I should get, and the system was not protective of me, and I felt very unfortunate, and then I found myself out of the door and unemployed. It was difficult to bounce back, but remember, I was a mother, I had responsibilities, so my natural instinct was rise up, because you cannot afford to keep lying down. Well, how are you going to provide? So I stopped fighting that battle, and then I just moved on to look for other sources of income, including relocating.
That is when you relocated from Zimbabwe to South Africa.
Yes.
Which is also a very interesting topic. I know you say, you know, being a mother drove you to just say, what's the next opportunity? But there are mothers out there who still struggle, you know, even after such, even when they're going through difficult times, they still struggle. So what advice can you give to mothers on how, or just a little encouragement for your viewers who are mothers that are going through something right now, to say, you know, you can pick yourself up, you know, you can do this, and your children should be your motivation. Yeah. Is there something you'd like to say to your viewers?
Yeah, I just want to say that with every dark cloud, there is a silver lining, and all challenges at some point, they come to an end.
Yeah.
So don't get stuck in negative, depressing thoughts. Try to find a way out.
Just keep trying.
Yeah, the concrete walls will always come your way, they'll always come in your path, but try to find a way of navigating. The more you try, the more opportunities will start presenting themselves. And the more you push hard against that concrete wall, the more the cracks will start developing, and you will find a way through. So just try. Just always wake up in the morning and say, what is it that I can do to change my situation? Keep applying your mind and looking for that alternative. You will find it.
Yeah. All right. So you moved to South Africa. You just packed up and you decided, I'm going into this new land. You hadn't been out of the country before then, had you?
No.
So that was your first time out of Zimbabwe. You are still quite young, you know. And how was that?
That was also a very challenging decision to take.
Yeah.
Because I'm not employed, I have responsibility, I have a child who I have a dream for. Because I also wanted your life to be better than mine. I didn't want you to walk the path that I had walked. So I want your life to be better, but now I don't have the opportunities to create a better life for you. So I decided, okay, let me go to South Africa. But I don't know anyone in South Africa. But I just had hope to say, I think.
So you see the aspect of hope, you know.
Yeah.
Because right now you're still based in South Africa, right? We are in London right now, but you're still based in South Africa. And it's been years. But you went there not knowing anyone, not knowing if it was going to work out for you. But right now it's working out. It has worked out for you for all these years. Like just to...
Challenges with it.
Challenges with it, definitely. But
Yeah.
it worked out. That's all. That's the kind of the lesson I'd like to give to the viewers, that it will work out, you know.
I want to agree with it will work out, but also to just point out that working out doesn't mean you're problem free.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean you're problem free. One problem will come, you overcome it, you get to the next, you get stronger, a more challenging problem comes. So it's a process of fighting. So don't cry when you find that you've conquered and then something else comes up, because that's just...
Even in your victory, something can still come up.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that makes people depressed or, you know, feel like, you know, giving up is when they constantly face challenges, when they feel like they should now be on the other side and everything should be rosy. But this is life, and you need to have that resilience, because it's not always going to be just an uphill. It can be an uphill, but it'll be like a bit staggering, you know, but doesn't mean you're not going up. And if you look back, you are much stronger, and you don't really sit and dwell in the past. Once you've overcome something, you've overcome it. That's one thing that I think I used to reiterate when just going through some of these challenges, that once this is gone, it's gone. And you see that the next day, after maybe a prayer has been answered or an opportunity has come, you easily forget what happened yesterday, or the pain you felt yesterday. So
it just becomes a distant memory.
It becomes something that you just look back on. So if you don't hold on, then you won't be able to see that. If you don't keep trying to find new opportunities, then you won't be able to reach that point where you look back. But if you give up, you stay there, you stay in that failed position. So keep moving, you know. I understand that you are, you know, an accountant, having graduated with your honors, and now you're in South Africa with no one, you know. And you had to start from a place where you felt like, okay, I have all these degrees to show, I have all this experience. Now I have to look and fend for my daughter. I have to look for any task, any job that I can get. How was that for you? How was that experience? Because I know people who have gone to school do not want to find themselves in a position where they do not work in the positions that they are meant to work. Here, there, with degree, you know.
It was a humbling experience. It was a very humbling experience, because I had to shove my degree underneath my suitcase. And because I'm in a new environment, I'm starting to learn the ropes, learn the economy, understand what's what. So I was like, how I articulated is I went hunting with salt in my pocket. I don't know if you can understand that. So you go hunting expecting to catch something, and then when you catch it, you've got salt already so that you feed. You're already hungry, you've got an appetite, but you gotta hunt so that you eat. You don't have anything else, and that thing that you're hunting for is what you're gonna eat.
That's your meal.
Yeah. So I went hunting with salt in my pocket. So when I went to South Africa, I went on a mission. I was on a mission. That very month, I needed to send money home. So I knew that chances of me getting the job that I would have wanted or qualified for, or that I had studied for, might not be that easy. So how do I manage to send money home by the end of the month? By grabbing the very first opportunity that comes, even if it means doing menial work, even if it means doing work that I ordinarily wouldn't have done when I was in Zim. Remember when I moved, we had a helper at home. We had somebody to help us clean, wash, cook, and stuff like that. But then I had to be somebody else's helper.
You know,
ironing somebody else's clothes.
You know what's interesting? When we stayed behind, we had no idea. You know, just seeing what my mother had to go through now, I can really appreciate her efforts, because when you stay behind in Zimbabwe, you just think someone has gone to a different country, they're in South Africa, mommy, when are you sending this? And you have no idea that they're going through so much just to provide, just to pay your school fees. And just watching how my mom went in on, went hard for me, and everyone else that you managed to help. It's a blessing, because some people, like we say, are easy to give up. But my mom kept pushing through. That's the title, basically, like shooting through those concrete walls, and there seemed to be a block at every step, but she did it. She raised me. I went to great schools just because my mom didn't give up. Because I feel like at some point, if she had given up, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So thank you, mom. Appreciate it. So still on the work topic, right? The Zimbabwe, when you got fired in Zimbabwe, that was not the only time you got fired. What else? When else did you get fired? And I think you also got retrenched. And most of those were still unfair circumstances.
Definitely. So yeah, I was fired twice and I was retrenched twice. So I was fired when I was in Zen for wanting to study MBA and asking for tuition fees and asking the organization to pay for my tuition.
And just to add on, imagine wanting to, further your studies by obtaining a master's. That's supposed to help your company with qualities and experiences and expertise, and they fire you for that.
Yeah.
You can question the mindset that the people back then, or the people in that company, because people can still do that in today's world.
In today's, yeah.
So you can imagine the kind of mindset that is very depriving, that is very pushing down and doesn't want the other people to rise. Because if you look at it, it was meant to make the company grow, but they thought about themselves in their own capacity.
Maybe felt threatened. Maybe felt threatened.
I can imagine you were young and trying to pursue a master's, and these people you're working with are very
slightly older, much older.
So it's quite interesting. It's an interesting topic that in the workplace you find people trying to put you down that are supposed to help you to rise up.
Yeah. People that are supposed to be going up and then pulling the ones that are below up with them, sometimes stifle the growth of those people that are underneath.
And
but I think it's just something that if they knew what they were worth, they would actually understand that by bringing other people.
It definitely shows insecurities in people.
Yeah. And if you are surrounded by a team around you that is able, that is skilled, that is knowledgeable, then it makes the team stronger.
It makes your work easier.
Exactly. So, but I don't know, maybe it's a management thing that we need to change, mindset shift maybe, so that people in management leadership positions become self-aware and sure of themselves and confident to the point that sharing knowledge, upskilling somebody else is no longer a threat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well said. So back to the discussion of the other retrenchment and the other fire, the other time you were fired.
Yeah. So I was fired for wanting to study more, and then the second situation is where I'd done work and we had agreed on terms of reference where I would be paid for a certain amount of work based on a percentage if I had brought business into the company. But when the business came, when the business came after a lengthy period, after putting in long hours,
I witnessed all of that.
Now looking at the dollars and the cents, then people started realizing, are we going to pay this much? And then they decided to want to shortchange, and the next thing we were in litigation.
That one was very painful because I think it happened in the latter years, and I was grown enough to understand. I was involved because I was still staying with my mom back in South Africa, and it was painful because when I watched her work, it was all like, at one point we're gonna bring that business in, because it's like you submitting a lot of applications and you eventually find, the client that's gonna give you an upfront payment, and from that huge lump sum, they're supposed to give a commission that is quite substantial for, my mother, and to have that taken away after looking forward to it for such a long time, it was a huge blow even for me, even though it wasn't my money.
And remember, we were in COVID. It was in COVID, so I had been retrenched.
Yeah.
So the time when in between losing my job as part of retrenchment, then I got this job, which wasn't paying so much. But then the assurance was there will be a commission payment. So the commission, when it came, and because it was a substantial percentage, I then had to take this job that wasn't paying me substantially because I was expecting that at least the commission wouldn't cover up.
Yeah.
Now, when the commission is supposed to be paid, people try to find ways of not paying.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of you because this time around, you took it to court. You did not let them walk all over you. And it just shows that no matter how long it takes, fight for what you know is yours, because the world might try to tell you that this is not yours, but if you are certain that something belongs to you, you don't stop fighting. It doesn't matter how long it takes. There are a lot of things that probably are not even in the book that you had to fight for until it happened.
Definitely.
Not giving up, because if you know for sure that this is supposed to be yours, you fight for it until it happens. That applies to anything in life, whether it's a career, whether you see yourself at a certain position in life and you're still not there. Don't give up. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter right now if you're sitting in the back room of your parents' house and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it in this life. If you have a vision for yourself where you see yourself in a certain light, don't stop until you get there. Find ways, research, talk to people, network, and tell people about your dreams, because you don't know who's going to bring in that answer. Because there were multiple times that you got another job just from talking, right?
Yeah.
After you had given up and I remember one of the stories, you were lying on the bed like, God, I don't know what to do next. And then you receive a phone call because you had been communicating, keeping in contact with people. So don't give up is something that you see coming through from the book over and over again. Just don't give up. Sometimes you get rewarded just for holding on. It's if you don't try, you will never see any results. You stay in the same position. But if you do try, then you can be here. Like, look at my mom, she's in London promoting her book. Woo! I'm sure 10 years ago you would have never dreamt of being here. Like,
where was I 10 years ago?
You would have never thought you'd be, going around the United Kingdom doing your book promotion, signing books, and one sightseeing. So
Just so far-fetched a dream.
yeah, life changes. Doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter your background. If you went to a rural school, life changes. And if you dream big and stick to your dreams. Some people, like the younger generation, we like to call it delusion, but honestly, it's just faith. It's just you having faith. You're just positive. You're bent on it. You're gonna get it, and that's it. And everything else will work out, even if it takes long to work out. Yeah. So you have just been telling me about your new initiative of donating books to your former schools, schools that you attended in primary, high school. Can you please tell us more and tell your viewers more about it?
The way the idea came is something that I feel is also divinely orchestrated.
Yes.
Because I was praying sometime last week and I'm like, Lord, I thank you for the promotion, but also show me any other initiatives I can do to promote the book, put word out there. I feel it's a positive message that benefits a lot of people, just to keep shooting through.
Yeah.
Because the concrete walls can come in any form. So everybody has some form of concrete walls in their lives.
Yeah.
So the positive message of keeping shooting through is something that I feel strongly that a lot of people would benefit from if they hear it often, because there's just so much negativity around, and there's so much loss of hope.
Yeah.
People are feeling desperate. People are feeling like
social media,
stuck.
all you see are negative comments or nonchalantness, where people don't really want to address things because they become too hurt and now they just went into a shell to protect themselves. But like we say, you don't grow from there. And you need to literally, and I can imagine as a plant, you're trying to navigate through a concrete. It must be painful, but it's going to lead to the light. It must be painful to attack that concrete.
Yeah.
And find and scratch and remove all of that.
Find a way out. Find a way out.
Honestly, the analogy is amazing. Every time the book itself, the picture, we need to talk about the picture on the book. But before we do that,
Yeah.
you know, you can just continue with the drive, donate a book drive we started.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I feel like the initiative was divinely orchestrated because I was praying, I'm like, God, I need to just keep on spreading the message of resilience, fighting on, don't give up, just keep trying regardless of how hard the situation is or how dire your circumstances are.
Yeah.
So as I was praying, a friend of mine then decided she wanted a book, and then she made a payment. She's like, I'm gonna make a payment. When the money comes in, I realize it's for 2 books, and then she says, can you send me 1 copy, but the other one you can donate it to somebody of your choice.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, this is such a good initiative. This is good. So as I kept on reflecting on it, then I'm like, donate a book. She is asking me to donate a book, but I can also then extend to others.
Yeah.
And obviously start from myself. I will start by donating, pay for certain books, print, donate, and then send to somebody who might benefit.
Yeah.
The younger generation mostly,
Yeah.
and even people that are in disadvantaged environments.
Yes.
Then I said, okay, so maybe the good starting point is maybe to go to my old school. There are students in high school that probably need to receive this message. Our school library might need to be, stocked up. So that's when the initiative was birthed.
Wow.
So yeah, the initiative was launched yesterday. So I launched it yesterday, and I've donated 10 books to my former school, Goromanzi High, and right now I'm just inviting alumni.
Yeah.
Right now I'm just inviting alumni from Goromanzi, my former school, who want to partner with me to also donate. They can reach out to me on my WhatsApp, on my Facebook page, on my Instagram page, and then they can tell me how many books they want to donate, and then we can make payments, and then we can then roll it over to other schools. We can still run it concurrently.
Yeah.
People from other schools that also want, they can just come and DM me if they want to. So we're starting with shooting through concrete walls. That's what we're donating. But as we grow, as we find our feet, we'll then go and even go into other literature, textbooks, exercise books, stationery literature. But for now, we're starting with shooting through concrete walls.
Wow, that is wonderful. And I can imagine in libraries you find a lot of things, but I don't remember coming across just a motivational story like this.
Yeah.
And I can imagine the students who are currently in Goromanzi receiving this and hearing that this person attended school here.
It will be more relevant.
Yeah.
It will be very close.
Yeah, it will be very close to home, and they'll be able to see themselves in your shoes and see if they are going through stuff. They'll be able to say, okay, look at this woman. She's done all of this. She's managed to push through this. So can I, which is basically what the book is about. So that's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I wish you success with the drive, honestly, because it will change people's lives. The book itself is a life changer, but that one in addition is wonderful to do. So you're moving into philanthropy, you see?
Yeah, it looks like it, one step at a time.
Wow,
One
I
step
love
at a
that.
time.
Like your life keeps progressing, which is exactly what we're saying. Like the more you push through, one day it's gonna all work out, and you're gonna be able to do the things that you've always dreamt of.
Yes, definitely.
Alright. So now we talk about the book, the picture, everything. Like you guys see this cover, it's wonderful. She has a story behind how this cover came to be. The picture you see of the plant, it's such an interesting story, and yeah, I'd like you to take us through it. You can read it for us.
Okay, so I decided to include a chapter towards the end of the book where I explain, for the benefit of people who might, not have seen this video.
Yes.
So I'll read briefly about how I came to come up with the picture and the title. A couple of years ago, I caught an image of a shoot growing out of the wall on camera. Little did I know that this image that had caught my attention would make it to the cover of my book. I was in the city center, walking along a street when I looked up, spotted a large green plant on the concrete wall, and stopped dead in my shoes. The image spoke to me, and as it did, several questions crossed my mind. I wondered, how did this plant grow out of a wall? How did it make its way out of the hard and impervious concrete wall? I also wondered how it was not choking and wilting in the glaring hot sun. Where was it getting its nourishment, its nutrients, and water from? The more I stared, the more I was awed. I just had to remember this vision that was before me. How the green plant had managed to grow out of this strong, thick concrete wall was a wonder. While I had more questions than answers, one thing was certain. The plant was resilient. I would only imagine the resistance from the concrete wall as the plant tried to make its way out. I could only imagine how hard the concrete wall must have been and how hot the afternoon sun felt as it hit on the concrete surface. To be where it was, the plant must have fought so much and gone through so much. Seeing the shoot beautifully growing out of the hard, impervious, and difficult to penetrate surface was a hard imagery of how the journey of my life has been, shooting through concrete walls.
Wow. Wow.
So basically, I took this picture when I was walking in the city in Harare, and I saw this picture on the wall, and I just thought this story. Like at that time, I didn't think it was going to come to be on the cover. I just thought this is.
You hadn't even started writing yet.
Actually, I hadn't even started writing this book. There was a book I was writing, a different book, not this one.
Which is the following book.
Yes. So the first book that I was writing, I then packed it and then started this book, but I'm gonna go and continue on it. But I decided to write this one first. But when I saw this picture, it just spoke to me. And I didn't understand why it spoke to me until about 2 years later, when I was now almost done writing my story, but I didn't have a title. And I was like, God, can I please have a title? Can you please give me a title? I have a story, but I don't have a title. And then one day, it just clicked.
Just dawned on me.
You have a picture that you took. Then I just looked for it. And then when I looked at it, a few hours later, I had a book cover and I had a book title.
Another testimony from our glorious God. Wonderful. And it came out beautifully.
And thanks to you, my daughter, for the design. Thank you for the design.
You are
Beautiful design.
You know,
Yeah.
I had to put through the vision, you know. I'm in alignment with God's vision, you know. Okay. So if someone would like to get a copy of your book, can you let them know which various platforms they can access it?
Awesome. My book is available on Amazon. Search for Shooting Through Concrete Walls by Jesika Zivuku and download a copy for you as an EPUB or buy a paperback and it will be delivered to you. Or you can just DM me on my Instagram page under my name, Jesika Zivuku, or on my Facebook page. You can send me a message and then I can arrange how the book is couriered to you. But in South Africa, we can courier to you via Paxi, which is a PEP delivery, and in Zimbabwe, there are outlets where the book is available. So just DM me, we'll give you the details of where you can get them. And we are also gonna share it on the bio.
Yeah. Put it on the screen for everybody to see so that you can get yourself a copy. What words would you like to leave with the viewers or the people that are gonna read your book?
I just want to encourage you to keep on pushing, to keep on shooting through those concrete walls. Never give up. Fall down, rise up. Fall down, rise up. Don't stay down. Find a way of motivating yourself. Find that one small reason why you need to get up.
Yeah.
And then get up and keep pushing, and you will find a way out of the concrete
we've come to the end of the video. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful discussion I had with my mom. And actually, we're shooting this on the day that she is leaving and heading back home, and I'm gonna miss her. So this was special. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my mother's channel. You like and you comment down your greatest lessons from this book if you've read it all from this video on this discussion, and we'd like to see you on the next one. There you have it, guys. Jesika Zivuku, a published author.
Thank you.
Bye.